everyone. Here's a teaser. Have you ever realized that in our society, there are groups of people suffering in mental illness that are often been misunderstood? So let's take schizophrenia and dissociative identity disorder as example, misunderstood by their Chinese name and social perceptions. But don't you worry, a small presentation, I'll help you tell the difference. In my presentation, I will first tell you one by one what the two mental disorders are, and then I'll tell you how they are different. And before we get started, here are some nouns that will later come out in my presentation. And just for you to understand what I'm talking about, here's those translations. And okay, then let's get started. So, what is schizophrenia? And let's see how the news reported first. You can tell that most of them is about murder cases. And you can tell that they are giving impressions of they are dangerous and insane. Speaking of which, schizophrenia is a mental disorder which causes hallucination, disorganized speaking, and persecutory delusions. And you can see one of the symptoms on the newspaper, like this one. Like this one and this one is they all have hallucinations. And scientists believe that schizophrenia was caused by genetic issues and dopamine imbalance in the brain or childhood trauma. And there are population, 1% of population has schizophrenia, but none of the symptoms have told us that they will attack people. So why do we think that they would? And now, you might be curious about what is dissociative identity disorder. Dissociative identity disorder, called DID, is also a mental disorder which was known to have different identities within a person. And those identities could show full personality traits. And people with DID might sometimes have memory loss because the identities appear alternately. And they may sometimes feel like they are disconnected to themselves or the world is unreal. And here is a news of someone who had dissociative identity disorder, which was a girl who was raped by his father and suffered in domestic violence. And I put this on is to show you that DID can be caused by early adverse experiences. And it was believed to be one of the main reasons. And now, you know what DID and schizophrenia is. Here are the differences. First is the causes. Schizophrenia can be caused by genetic factors, but DID occurs later in life. Second is the symptoms. Compared to schizophrenia, which can have hallucination and persecutory delusions, DID is mostly about identity changes. But they have difference, but they have one thing that related almost the same is that they all cause memory loss. But there is still a small difference is that people with DID have problem to remember it, but this is not a problem to schizophrenia. After all, people with mental illness might seem different from others, but we can't see them as dangerous or freaks. And the news often reports things that some of them done to spread fears and make us think that they are dangerous killers. But in reality, they could act like normal ones. We should know that all the mental illness is a self-protection, and it is a proof that they want to live. And last thing that, schizophrenia and DID is different in many ways. But just for you to know, they are all humans. Thank you everyone, that's all of my presentation.